Hello, hope everybody's doing well. You've survived another week of English 111. Good work. Let's see, so where are we? I have returned feedback on all of the work that came in by the deadline. A lot of folks are turning in work late, working really hard to get work back to you in a timely fashion. I need you to make sure that you get the work in on time. I did not have time budgeted today to grade late work, so I was trying to finish journals today. So it's very important that you get your work in on time. As we progress through the semester, late work may not be graded, so please make sure you turn in your work by the deadline. I encourage you to think of our course deadline as midnight on Wednesday, so you've got Thursday morning for a little bit of a buffer in case you have internet trouble or something like that. But please, please, please get your work in on time. You need the feedback on these pieces of your essay so that you can move forward. And for you to get that quickly, I need you to make sure that you get the work in by the deadline. I will get the late work returned as soon as I can, but it probably will not be today. So let's talk about a few things I noted. I saw a lot of really good descriptions, a lot of vivid detail, and a lot of really good organization. So across the board, things are looking good. I wanted to think a little bit about some of the things to kind of troubleshoot. Whenever you refer to the name of a magazine, you'll want to italicize that. For MLA, MLA talks about containers. I don't like that phrase. It just seems, I know what they mean, but it seems strange. I like to think of the whole work and parts of a whole. So you italicize the name of a book, but you put the name of the chapter in quotation marks. You italicize the name of a magazine, but you put the title of an article from the magazine in quotation marks. Same thing for a newspaper. So like the Sanford Herald would be in italics, but the name of an article or the title of an article from the Herald would go in quotation marks. When I say title case, I'm referring to capitalizing the way we do in titles, where we capitalize all of the important words. You can see my Encyclopedia of Southern Culture behind me. E is capitalized. O for of is not. Southern and culture are capitalized. That's an example of title case. So when you see that, that is what I mean. As we move through this essay into more academic writing, we're going to want to go ahead and start practicing third person. So not saying I and you as much as possible. I know that sometimes it's impossible. You're having to bring in an experience or whatnot. But right now, let's work on changing those first and second person statements, the I and the you statements, into third person statements. So instead of you see this ad, the viewer sees in the ad. And sometimes you can take the person out of it. You can just say the ad. When you're doing that, though, make sure that you're avoiding redundancy and unnecessary repetition. If you are talking about your ad, don't say the ad advertises, right? It's an advertisement, so that's implied. So, if you wanted to say the ad displays, the ad is bringing attention to, etc. But saying the ad advertises is kind of an odd repetition. So, and again, these are drafts, right? Like LL1.LL3 said, you got to get the crappy first draft down on paper. And it's hard to get started. I wanted you all to read that essay by LL1.LL3. She is a professional writer. She has published books. It can be hard to get started. Everybody has trouble getting started. I have trouble getting started. So sometimes you just have to kind of grit your teeth and put something down on paper and then work with it. So with this description, hopefully this was a relatively, I don't want to say easy, let's say not painful first step into your essay. And that's what I want. I want you to get in the habit of being able to draft. And remember, you can change stuff. So even though you've submitted this description and I've given you feedback, when we get into more of the essay, you're going to want to move some stuff around, and that's okay. And we'll talk about that as we get to it. Another thing I wanted to mention is context. Some of you asked kind of why it was important where something was in the magazine, why the magazine mattered. We're going to be talking about context. I know you've heard context before. You have probably heard it in classes when you were trying to figure out the definition of something and your instructor said use context clues, meaning to look around that word to try to figure out what that word means. Context refers to the setting. It refers to, where something is in a point point in time in a published work, in what setting something was said. Perhaps you've heard the comment, well, that was taken out of context, because context matters. Where something is said matters, right? The circumstances around a statement absolutely matter. So one thing you'll be looking at, possibly in your analysis, but mostly in your evaluation, is the context of your ad. Does it make sense? Does the ad make sense where it's published? Does it fit there? And that brings us to our analysis. So the next step, now that you've gotten your feedback on your description, you're going to take that feedback, you're going to revise and make whatever changes you need to, and then you're going to add your analysis paragraph. And you may have more than one paragraph for your analysis. That's okay. So right there in the same document, make your changes to your description, and then draft your analysis. Now, I gave you some questions to help you get started. This is the part where we start to get into all that critical thinking. We start to say, okay, what's the advertiser doing here? Now, if you feel that you do not have an analytical mind, I'm going to challenge you, because I am sure somebody has at some point said something or done something and you've gone, what do they mean by that? What do they really mean? And started to dig in a little bit. You know how to do this, right? You have an analytical mind. I know you do. So I gave you some questions to think about. I want you to think about who the audience for the ad is. And keep in mind that the audience for the ad may not be who is in the ad. Sometimes I will get a response from students. So maybe there will be an advertisement for a product that is for kids in a magazine that's for adults. And students will say, oh, well, the audience is kids. Well, kids aren't reading that magazine, right? Who are they trying to get to? The kids aren't going to be the ones who are going to buy the thing. It's going to be the parents, right? So it may be a product for kids, but they're actually targeting the parents. Sometimes who is in the ad is not who is actually being targeted. Okay, so you need to look carefully at your ad and think about who the target audience is, and you need to be specific. I'll see a student will have something like a makeup ad, and they'll be like, oh, well, this ad is targeting women who wear makeup. Okay, but who within that group are they really targeting? Narrow that down. Okay, so when you think you have an idea of the audience, think about how you can narrow it. What parameters can you put around it, and provide evidence from the ad to back that up. So, this ad is, here, let me go back to an example real quick. Maybe, maybe, you like how I just pulled one off the shelf like that without thinking first? All right, so I've got this Purina One ad with these pets flying through the air, okay? So I look at this and I think, okay, this says a healthy pet starts with a healthy gut, Purina One, new microbiome balance. So the first thing somebody's going to say is, oh, it's for pet owners. Well, yeah, but what subset of pet owners are they trying to attract? I look at this and I think they are trying to attract a pet owner who is worried about their pet's gut health. So this is not just somebody who's, got some animals. It's somebody who's concerned about it, okay? And maybe I say, it's very easy for me to make that argument because they talk about gut health here. But also they've got this fun picture of the cat and the dog flying through the air. So maybe this is targeting a pet owner whose animal hasn't been doing that well. And they see this and they think, ooh, maybe that could be the thing to help my pet, to help give them energy, to help them feel good. So maybe they're targeting pet owners who have an older pet or a pet with health problems, or who are really concerned about their pet's well-being, for example. So make sure you look at your ad and see how you can narrow down the audience. Okay, don't just tell me it's targeting men or targeting women or targeting people. Who are those people? And there can be a lot of ways to determine that from your ad. It can be, you can look at the people who are in it and make some determinations. You can, of course, think about the magazine it's in. There are a lot of ways to get there, but make sure that you address that audience, how the ad is trying to target them, and incorporate some of that evidence from the ad. And if you don't know where to start, look back at what struck you about the ad first. What did you talk about first in that description, or what got your attention the most? That can be a good place to start to help you with that analysis. So, and once again, you're going to get feedback on the analysis. So what you turn in for this Thursday, I'm going to turn it around just like I have with the descriptions. So, if you need to do more work on it or if something's a little off base, we'll deal with it. Okay, so do your best. Let's also talk a little bit about MLA troubleshooting. Across the board, MLA format looks pretty good, but there are a couple of common problems that can come up. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and let's take a look at that. So I just put this together really quickly. One of the most common errors I see with MLA formatting deals with the spacing. I had mentioned in my MLA video that I like to hit no spacing to clear out the formatting in the document before I start, because as you'll notice, MLA puts in extra space every time you hit enter if you don't do that. So if you have a comment on your paper that is adjust spacing between paragraph breaks or between line breaks, that's what I'm talking about. Now, if you then, I'm going to go over here to select all the text in the document. If you then go to no spacing, it's going to wipe out all the formatting in your document, and you don't want that. Then you're basically starting over. So what you can do to fix this, select all, select everything in the document, come here to your line spacing options, and make sure before and after is set to 0 and that your line spacing is set to double. And if you do that, it'll fix it right up. The headers, I've seen a couple things. I've seen folks putting the page number on one side and the last name on the other. I've seen some with just the page number. I've seen some aligned to the wrong side. I've seen some that need the font adjusted, and I've seen some people just kind of skate by it and hope I won't notice. As a reminder, to easily put in a header in Word, if you hit tab twice when you're in the header, it will move your cursor to the other side. Type your last name. This is Good Students paper, so their last name is Student. Put in a space, and then you're going to go to page number, current position, eventually, come on computer, there we go, and plain number. Then you just need to adjust your font, and you'll be ready to go. So those are the MLA formatting problems I've seen from time to time. Remember to center your title above the document body and use title case. Remember to, if you are using my template, update your section. And when you list your date, do it with the day, then the month, then the year, no punctuation needed. So that really is it for the major content I wanted to talk about with what you've done so far. I did assign why good advertising works, even when you think it doesn't, to help you think about how advertising works. We often have that impression that an advertisement is designed to make us want to rush out and buy a product immediately, but a lot of advertising is just trying to build brand recognition, build familiarity, make sure that we think of that brand when we need the service. It's not like I see a Geico commercial, I'm like, you know what, Lizard, you're right, I'm going to go change my auto insurance today. But in a year or 2 years or whatever, when I need auto insurance again, and I'm trying to decide what carrier to go with, maybe I remember Geico and I go there first to investigate it. So hopefully, I know that article is dated and the references are super dated, but I hope that was helpful in thinking about how to approach your ad and kind of identify what it is that the advertiser was setting out to do. I still owe you some sentence structure and punctuation videos. I still owe you time management and study skill videos, so I will get to work on those. Meanwhile, please be in touch if I can help you. If you would like to drop into office hours, you are always welcome to. And if you want to set up an appointment to meet in person, to talk on the phone, to meet in the virtual office, just drop me an email and we'll get it done. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing, gosh, I need more coffee, seeing what you turn in next week. Take care.